Exploitation happens everywhere we go, and to not exploit others is to be naked and live in the woods.
Is this an appeal to hypocrisy or an appeal to futility? That nothing matters, we can do what we want?
It's not that nothing matters and we should do whatever we want. It's just that the world has many complications. And
Well, when you have two options in front of you, one requires an execution, like someone has to have their throats cut for it, and they were probably bred into existence, like forcibly made pregnant without consent. One product demands that, and one does not. Is it the same what we choose?
Da må jeg fokusere. Det er min tur å levere. Av visdom å spre, og det er det jeg ønsker å kreve i lønn. Mer enn en drøm.
Don't say the wrong thing. People think I'm like evil or something. Okay.
We'll see. So my name is Matthias.
Okay.
Are you guys just visiting or?
Yeah, we've been in Norway for the last few months. We were living here, and this is our last day in Norway. So heading out soon back to South Africa.
Oh, cool. Last day in Norway?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I like to have ethical discussions, so I will want to ask some questions to check for consistency.
Okay.
So they might start off quite easy, and maybe it will get more difficult. We'll see.
Okay.
So first off, exploitation, meaning to use someone else without their consent to gain something from them. Is this bad or okay to do?
I think, yeah, bad. Yeah, I think we could all agree exploitation is a bad thing.
Yeah, I've yet to meet someone who just say, yeah, no, it's fine. Like,
It'd be kind of heartless to think exploitation's surface level okay, right?
Yeah. What if we are way smarter than the ones we exploit? Does that make it okay?
I think still not right to exploit others, right?
Well, what if they don't realize they're being exploited? So they still lose from it, but they don't like comprehend it, or does that make it okay?
I would say still not okay. You shouldn't knowingly exploit people, you know.
What if they look very, very different from us?
Still say don't exploit them, yeah.
What if, say, they have scales or feathers or fur? If they walk on 4 legs instead of 2?
Yeah, I guess don't exploit. But I also kind of believe in the Native American sense of it, right? Which is honor what is coming in the ecosystem beneath you, I guess you could say. We eat plants, we eat animals, which is maybe where this is going. And I don't know, we need food to survive, but you should honor the environment, you should honor the animals that you eat. So that's my take on it.
Is it okay that the humans exploit other animals?
I think livestock farming is kind of a messed up thing that people do, but you know, it is what it is. But at the same time, I think there's ethical ways of farming that are better, right? Chickens shouldn't grow up in cages. They should grow up running around and eating grass and bugs, you know? That's honoring the animal, I think. But it is a difficult thing, you know? So I go to the grocery store and think about how things died for us to live and how it's not always very fair, you know?
No, not just died, they were killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned a bit Native Americans. Obviously, if there's some kind of necessity to it, then you have more of a justification, I would say. But do you think we, in our society, in our time, have a necessity to use animals?
Yeah. I think people definitely have necessities to eat animals. I mean, we're not born vegetarians. This is not how our biology works, you know? And it's unfortunate, we could all eat lentils and beans, but you know, at the end of the day, eating meat is part of being human.
Okay. What do you think you need to get from animals that you can't get without animals?
Protein.
You know there's protein in plants. All protein comes from plants.
Protein in plants, but I think animals are part of our natural biology. I think eating other animals is part of what makes people people. Should we tell bears to be vegetarians as well? Or wolves?
Is what's natural the same as what's ethical?
I think
Because there's a lot of fucked up shit that happens in nature. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say nature is something to
Maybe part of
copy.
what's part of cool about humanity too is that we do try to reject nature constantly, right? Like warfare is part of animalistic nature. I mean, wolves and
Yeah,
bears fight
yeah.
just like we do, but part of being human is
Right.
philosophy. It's rejection of that, right? So like,
Right. We're moral agents. Like, we have moral agency. We have a better, or should have a better understanding of right from wrong. And like you said, we've always in nature been balanced towards each other too. So you can argue that's part of our nature. Rape happens in nature all the time. You can argue that's natural. So what's natural for us isn't like the fact alone that we can survive and thrive without any animal products. To me, that's all that matters. Like if you're frugivore, omnivores, whatever, like, well, the science is clear that we can get all the nutrients we need and we can survive and thrive. So then shouldn't that be what matters for what we do?
yeah, I guess so. You know, and you know, there's a lot of natural things that I think we want to have, and lots of unnatural things too. But I don't know. It's just part of living, and maybe one day there'll be an ethical way for us to get nutrition and live happy, healthy lives without animals suffering for it. Right now, I think the best thing we can do is like farm ethically. I think it's unrealistic to think that all people will be vegetarians, but you know, maybe one day things will change.
Well, vegetarians still exploit animals for other animal products.
Everybody exploits the resources of the earth to their benefit, whether they like it or
Yeah,
not.
but it's the
you know,
same
vegans and
to-
vegetarians are just as bad as meat eaters are. I mean, you're wearing a jacket right now made with oils that were used by,
Yeah.
you know, exploiting people in the Middle East for it. Most likely. I mean, we're in Europe. There is no oil in Europe, except in beautiful Norway, of course, right? Exploitation happens everywhere we go, and to not exploit others is to be naked and
Okay.
live in the woods.
Is this
right?
an appeal to hypocrisy or an appeal to fertility? That nothing matters, we can do what we want.
I think it's an appeal to realism. And it's not that nothing matters and we should do whatever we want. It's just that the world has many complications, and you know, it's like
Yeah, but when you have two options in front of you, one requires an execution, like someone has to have their throats cut for it, and they were probably bred into existence, like forcibly made pregnant without consent. One product demands that, and one does not. Is it the same what we choose?
I think to live a life where we exploit nothing is
At least no one.
it's almost impossible at this point, right? It's almost impossible. The things that you and I are both wearing, they're manufactured by exploiting people. The resources that we walk on and what survives around us were made by exploiting people in some way or fashion, probably.
Yeah. Well, we talk about
The things we
exploiting.
eat are exploitative. The pesticides that we use to farm the environment to sustain populations this massive, that's exploitive.
Yeah, but like I
everything's
said, if
exploitive
there's
in a
if
way.
you have if there's some kind of necessity to it. So for pesticides, for instance, I would say we have a right to keep ourselves alive. So we have a right to defend our crops. Otherwise, we would starve. So using pesticides to defend crops, that's very different from breeding, enslaving, confining, and mass slaughtering sentient beings. Because if we didn't use pesticides, we would starve. But we can still just grow crops directly to humans and live off of that just fine without forcibly make animals pregnant, take their babies away, and mass slaughter them at a fraction of their
It's
lifespan.
fair, you know, it's fair. Like, I don't like the idea of it either, you know. It's too bad that the world operates this way, but to find a world with no exploitation is it's a difficult thing. Now, should I say we encourage exploitation? No, like that's silly, but like it's also foolish to think that we can live a world with no exploitation either, you know?
Yeah, well, at least we can. Often, like you can't always see the whole like supply chain of like when you buy clothing or groceries. You don't
Right.
always know what happened down the line. But
I
there
would
are
say
but
even
there are
being-
some things you know for sure. Like so meat for example is impossible to produce without someone having their life taken, obviously. So and that's the thing. All the animals in the other industries too are also killed. So if there's no animal products, then I know for sure that someone was exploited to death for it. So And when you talk about like cases of human exploitation, sometimes that can be a bit more complex because we have the capacity to giving informed consent, and maybe workers working in bad conditions, maybe that's the best job they can have. So maybe a boycott won't have the same effects and so on. And so it becomes more complicated, like in the human context, I would say. But if you started off, you had some, I don't know if you have some health concerns, or if it's possible to survive and thrive as a vegan. But if that wasn't the case, if you found out you could get everything you needed and there wasn't any need behind it, would anything stop you then from just try to leave animals alone?
You know, it's a hard question to ask. You know, I've tried doing a vegan diet before, very unsuccessfully. I mean, I do sports, I do a lot with my life, and to me, it made me feel like I was falling apart to try a vegan diet, you know? I don't know, like, there's so much about society that, like, makes you feel guilty to live in it, right? Being American, being European is guilty to the core. I mean, our societies couldn't function at all without exploitation. They were built upon hundreds of years of exploitation of people from around the world, right?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do? Stop walking on the sidewalk? Stop driving a car? Stop buying electronics? Stop wearing clothes? Be naked and run around in the forest all day? And, you know, it's,
that's obviously not.
And it's you know, it's like at a point, it's like no, I feel bad about it. It's not like I love living that kind of existence, but at the same time, I still exist. You know, it's it's too bad. But you know, in the future, if there was unlimited energy, if there was scientific production of protein that easily replaced meat, that made things different for people, I don't see why we should reject that kind of thinking. But I think at the current time and situation, it's just not like realistic to believe in mass adoption of veganism for the global population. Well, I think it's also like kind of a privileged way of thinking that like veganism is even like as a universal way of living is a sustainable way to live. I mean, maybe Europeans and Americans can devise this kind of way of thinking, but like across the world, this is not even realistic. If you're in South America, you cannot live a vegan diet and live. You cannot do this in Africa. Like, this is not possible across most of the world.
I would try to contest that. I know vegans in Africa and South America.
And I know people in Africa who survive on almost 99% meat because it's all they can get. Because you can't grow crops in Namibia. You can't grow them in most of Somalia. It's not possible. Livestock farming is how people get the majority of their calories in places that are poverty stricken.
Well, if they eat animals, those animals ate something, right? So it's always more energy efficient to eat plants directly than to, when you eat animals, you need way more plants to first feed the animal.
I guess so.
And when you say vegan living, that doesn't tell me how people live or how you ate. That just tell me what they avoided. But a vegan can be a Olympic champion, a bodybuilder, or a couch potato. It's like veganism is an ethical stance against animal exploitation. So that can look like many things. Like you can, and there's more than 20,000 edible food plants which can be put together in endless combination. The cheapest foods in the world are vegan: rice, beans, potatoes, lentils. So if you talk about privilege and like animal products, it's actually usually it takes way more resources to create, and the only reason most people can afford it in most countries is because it's heavily subsidized through the tax money. So if the product reflected the resources, it would be way more expensive. But all of these are like practical issues, but what needs to be the foundation is the ethical conviction. And maybe you had a hard time when you tried, but I don't know exactly how you did it. If you like looked up how to get the different nutrients, if you got enough calories, or what the motivation behind it was, because that also usually matters. If people do it for like health or environmental reasons, they usually slip up and fall back. But when you do it out of concern for the animals, for the individual victims, then I don't see how you could go back. Because that to me would be, I could never do it again. Like I'm ashamed of my non-vegan past, you could say.
I think, people will find things in their life that they find is their goal to specifically combat, right? Some people will want to combat war, poverty, eating meat, creating environmental pollutions, carbon emissions. They'll want to find ways to use their work to benefit society and not just themselves. People will find all kinds of crusades to go on through life, and I think it's a good thing, right? Like, it's good that people find personal missions. I don't think it's really realistic for us to think that everybody will be involved in our personal mission, right? I think it's quite important that things are made with non-foreign labor, for example, like when it comes to exploiting people for wage resources, right? We wear things that are made in China, made in India, made in Vietnam, for example. And these things are specifically done to exploit people when we come from a rich country like Norway or America. And I'm guilty of it too. Look, like I tried to buy things that are made in America, but I certainly have socks or underwear, something that's made in China or India. It's something I go out of my way not to do because I think it's bad for local and foreign economies. But this is my own personal crusade, and I can't expect everybody to act that way. It's not feasible for a lot of people to buy higher quality clothing made in their own country because it's expensive, because economic fluctuations have messed these things up. Now, that's my own personal crusade, and I think when people have dietary crusades, environmental crusades, I'm happy for them, and I hope that the kinds of things they try to do help to limit resource consumption that's wasteful or resource allocation that's wasteful. But at the same time, I think it's unrealistic to think that everybody can, be on board with our own personal crusade.
No, and it's good cause you have to if that's like your the cause crusade you said that drives you the most. And I'm not asking everyone to become animal rights activists and go out of their way to do stuff for animals. What I am asking everyone is that the least we can do is at least to leave them alone, to not put them in this position. And it's not about like resources or diet, it's just about ethical consideration for sentient individuals. So would you have taken the same stance, for instance, that like about human meat, for instance?
I mean, I'm just not interested in cannibalism, but what I'll say is that like right now, I'm just not terribly interested in living a non-meat eating life. I prefer to eat animals. I prefer to get my nutrition through the animals I eat.
But do you think they prefer not to be eaten?
I think anything prefers not to be eaten. That's how nature works. But at the same time, I think it's more useful to shift our resources towards thinking about how to provide non-wasteful ways of eating rather than perhaps eliminating huge parts of our ancient diet. It's to tell a wolf to eat green beans. It's as unrealistic as telling a person not to eat cows or chickens.
If someone killed you, would you care what they did with your body afterwards? If they wasted it or ate you?
Well, I think if I'm dead, I don't care about anything at that point.
Right.
I don't know.
That's my point too. That doesn't matter.
That's part of the cycle, right?
Yeah.
We will return to the earth, and hopefully my time's not yet, but soon enough, it sure as hell will be.
How would you feel if the day you were born, someone else had planned the day of your execution? So, like say cows can live 25 years. Dairy cows are killed after maybe 5-6 years when their bodies can't take it anymore. So say I don't know, that would be an equivalent of us being killed on our 18th birthday, maybe. I don't know.
Well, frankly, I'm not part of the food industry. I don't really know what the best line of action is, but
supply and demand, we are part of it. And one person removing their demand can mean 100 animals per year.
What I say by that is that, look, I'm going to go buy meat from the grocery store because I got to eat, right? I'm not saying I know how to plan the whole shebangle. Like, I don't know how to plan when you kill a cow, how you raise it. I just hope that we do good by the animals that we kill, right? And I think that's the best that we can really hope for, is that people that are smarter than me, look, I don't know how to operate an entire food industry, but
And that's not what I'm asking people either.
what I'm just hoping is that somebody who is smarter than me can manage to do this in a way that is a better allocator of resources, that isn't wasteful, that honors the things that we eat.
Well, how is that?
Because I'm gonna keep eating meat. It's just gonna happen, and sorry to say it, but I'm going to. And it is what it is, right? Like, I don't want to be heartless about it, but I think at the end of the day, that's just the most realistic thing for me to say, is that I'm not going to change. And, you know,
Okay.
that's the honest answer.
Well, what's harder, like looking up some ingredients here and there and do some changes in our own life? Is that harder, or being sent into a slaughterhouse?
To me, it's just like, it's not the question of like, how hard is it to look up ingredients, the fact that I just don't want to quit eating meat. I mean, I would just rather eat meat than not eat meat, you know?
Can we use this justification in other, like pleasure? Is that a good justification for exploiting someone?
What do you mean by that?
I mean, you said the reason you're not gonna stop is because you like eating meat. So because it's a like, because it's a want, like not a need, but because you get pleasure from it, taste pleasure, right? So is pleasure a good
I just don't
justification?
see, like, to me, like, I feel like meat is part of my natural diet, and I'm just not going to me, it's not so much a pleasure thing, but it's living, it's eating, it's being a human, you know?
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
you can do all that without exploiting animals.
okay, it's still my natural biology. It's just how I'm going to eat.
Are you really sure that's natural? Like, if you find dead animals on the ground, do you become hungry and start to chew on them and lick them and like?
If I was starving, yeah.
Yeah, but you're not starving. You live in where was it? America, or you have been here? But
I live anywhere, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm not
Like,
talking about survival situation. I'm talking about like in everyday life. Obviously, like the people who crashed in the Andes had justification for eating other humans in that scenario. But that doesn't make it okay for me now to go and kill and eat humans, right?
Yeah, I guess I'm not talking about eating humans. I'm just talking about eating animals.
What's the difference?
Look, I feel bad for animals, but it's part of the food chain, right?
If you feel bad for them, then you have the choice not to put them in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, if you feel bad, maybe that's your natural response. Like your conscience telling you shouldn't do it.
There's probably a million things I shouldn't do, but gonna do it anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess I need to talk to more reachable people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
But I appreciate
Cheers.
conversation.
Good luck.
And just remember, you wouldn't want to be in their shoes, in their situation.
Yeah.
So
It is what it is. Yeah. And sorry to disappoint, but you know, it is what it
do
is.
unto others as you would have done them do to you.
Sure.